Sanjeevji, we once had somebody comment about this in one of our meditations, and I was wondering if you could maybe touch on it for our audience as well. The person mentioned that they had actually fallen once on their tailbone somehow, and they awakened their Kundalini. Is this even a significant thing if it were to happen? And could it even be dangerous? And should we pay mind to it? Or what should someone do in this situation? How do they even know it's happened?
So, if somebody falls, there's an accident, say, right? Not to worry too much about it, because you can accidentally awaken the Kundalini, but it's not going to do anything whatsoever. Because if you understand that it's like a huge size of, what is my Kundalini? Kundalini is my consciousness, my whole existence. Because if I do not have a consciousness, then who am I? Nothing. So, and it is lying dormant for several lifetimes in the Mooladhara chakra or in my tailbone. And if you accidentally awaken it, it'll awaken for a short period of time, then it'll go back into the sleeping position once again. This is not as much of a concern, but the bigger concern is if you start working on the Kundalini with a wrong or untrained person, that is the biggest danger. That's why I said Kundalini process, awakening and raising it, should be done with, if possible, a self-realized guru or somebody who has worked with a self-realized guru. And because when it rises, we'll talk about it maybe another, set of podcasts where it has to rise through the central channel we call the nadis, called the sushumna.
Right.
And now if an untrained person you're working with makes it rise through Ida or Pingla, God bless you. You're over. You're finished. And then even if somebody had some kind of, power using their own, was able to make your Kundalini rise through Sushumna, it is again with time going to go back to sleep again, because it will experience the three bandhas, the knots. And that even the scriptures say, the first and the third one, you cannot pierce them. You cannot make your Kundalini pierce them on your own power. You need a guru. And like a trained guru who knows, who has done this. And that's why it's not to worry about an accidental awakening, because you will gonna revert back to, the same old position. Right. The danger lies in working with there are so many in today's world, Kundalini experts, God bless them. I shouldn't be laughing now. But I'm just saying that beware. And you allow somebody to mess with your Kundalini, your whole life is over, you can say, more or less. So be very careful, because this is a very pure science. Yes. A very, very pure science in which a lot of benefit, a lot of purity, cleansing happens when you work with your guru to raise your Kundalini and pierce these three granthis.
And even before he starts raising it, he's going to purify you first, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sanjeevji, is there such a thing as right or wrong?
This is a very valid and a very pertinent question, and it is something that we are caught in it on a daily basis. And there's so many debates and so many, guidances all over. Different religions, different, communities, different nations have the, definitions of right or wrong, and you can do this, you cannot do this, you cannot do. And there is always a debate and a dilemma. And that's one of the reasons why we acquire more guilt. So In our Brahmanda Yoga, we say there is only one measure to define what is right or wrong. Any action that you do, that action or a thought can never be right or wrong. What makes it right or wrong, or can make it right or wrong, is the intention behind it. Right? Say, for example, that your intention is really good, but some other people around you may not be able to see that. I'll give you an example. Say in India, majority people are Hindus and they don't eat beef. And there's a person who firmly follows this belief. But imagine there is this man or person and he has a child who's dying of starvation, right? And now the only piece of food that he can offer to save his child's life is a piece of beef. Now, you tell me, if he gives it to this child to save his life, is it right or wrong? Because ethically, from the principles, to eat beef or to offer it to his unknowing child is wrong. But but above that is his duty to protect his child. Right. So now you make a decision whether it's right or wrong. So it is the intention behind our actions or thoughts which can really make something right or wrong in our life. So that's why we say, forget about these things. Work hard to make your intentions clean. Work on your intentions and everything they call in Sanskrit or Brahmanda Yoga is bhav. Everything is your bhav, your intention. And if you have a cleaner intention, the chances of you doing things right is more likely.
You once mentioned to me that at one point in history, there were a lot more self-realized people walking the earth. And my question to you is, how did the amount lessen over time? And can you elaborate on this, on what you told me?
So, as we know, like in our scriptures, the whole time period, a cycle of this universe is defined into, 4 yugas. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And in this house, they defined, grossly, right? Just for a layman, that at the time of Satya Yuga, like 90% people were self-realized, or 80% people were self-realized. So as to your answer, yes, most of the people walking were very evolved. Yet there were that small element of negative or asuras. And then came the Treta Yuga, was like 75%. That they were still very evolved people, positive people, and still that makes still a lot of people, evolved people, self-realized people walking this face of earth. Then came the Dwapar Yuga. Dwapar Yugas were half and half. So negativity had started seeping in a lot more. So fewer people, or at least half the people, were not evolved or spiritual. Then came the Kali Yuga, where 75% people are negative and 25%. And then come the extreme Kali Yuga, where 90% negative and then 10%. So, but this is something that is beyond our control. Like we have been taking birth in virtually all these yugas, right? But this existence of the yugas not only happens around us, it happens within us also. So, for example, when the Satya Yuga time, there were 90% as the outside environment governed were positive, yet 10% people still chose to have the Kali Yuga within them. That's how they were demons or asuras. Right. And similarly, change is happening. So now I cannot change the time that this life I am born in, but I can definitely change the environment or the yuga within me. Right. So I can create a Satya Yuga within me or Treta Yuga within me, And that again happens with sadhana. And that is again by releasing negativity. As I said, all the work that we do in Brhamanda Yoga, the objective is only one: clean, 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 clean. And the result is only one: rest, everything, health, happiness, success. It all is a byproduct, but the first outcome is better clarity, more clarity, higher consciousness. So, this is how you change the yugas within you. So, that's why I say don't focus on what is outside. Work on what's within you. You cannot change the yuga that you're born in externally, but you can definitely change the yuga that you have within you. So, focus on that.
So hypothetically speaking, Sanjeevji, if we were, majority of us self-realized at this time, right, and we were living in a Satya Yuga, right, would we see so many problems that we see today in the world?
If you go back, whatever is written in the scriptures, in the Satya Yuga, there were not those problems there. So it's an evidence that it's not that, yes, if that was happening outside of or somehow 80% of the people could create a Satya Yuga within themselves, then of course not. Because now people are so driven materially, like selfish, like my needs and my desires over everybody else's, egos and all those things, negativities. Once they are prevailing and have such a strong power, then of course you will see more and more challenges outside of the world.
Do we ever really die?
What is we?
Us humans.
Ask about yourself.
Am I gonna die? Am I really going to die? Is what I'm asking.
Then first of all, you tell me, who are you? Which I are you talking about?
The me that is above this body.
So if you talk about a physical body, yes, we are all gonna die. It's like, but then it is false knowledge also. See, for example, the shirt I'm wearing. Tomorrow it gets torn off. Just because the shirt is torn off, I said, I am dead? I'm not. Because I'm identifying myself as this shirt. Similarly, if I'm identifying myself as this physical body, then of course. But then that's not my real I. That's not even my Jivatma or the Nil Purush or the higher self. That higher self is on a journey. And the only way it can get out of this perpetuity of taking birth and dying again of the physical body can happen only and only through sadhana and getting rid of the karmic load. And for that to happen, it just cannot die. This is not, because that is, what is the death? Death is of only physical or material things. We know scientifically today too, energy cannot be destroyed. It cannot be created even. It can be transmuted. So, and mass and energy are interchangeable, but once you have the energy, how can energy die? It can just be transformed. So, there is actually no death, and that's what we, as we go into the higher states of meditation, and when we kind of see this clearly, we in fact laugh at ourselves. There was no death ever. I was never born. I will never die. The birth and death is happening of a physical body. And physical body is acquired by my soul again to fulfill my soul agenda in every life, and that is self-realization. And the key word in this, realization, means realization, to know the real I. Once I have even got a glimpse of that real I, that illusion of me dying as a physical body, that starts to dissolve. And the real wisdom starts shining slowly and gradually and increasing as you do more sadhana, as you evolve, as you raise your consciousness. And then you see that this is all futile. This all wisdom that I have been acquiring was wrong wisdom. And once I kind of see this whole thing, then there is no fear of death. I mean, in fact, if you ask, there is a story in our scriptures, very valid story, where there is called a young, very evolved child around 10, 12 years old, and his name was Nachiketa. And his father was a king, but a very kind of, selfish, mean, very rich and famous. Once he did this whole process called a yagya, where he gave away everything that he had, but it was for the reason that if they said that if you do the yagya, then you will get many times more. So it was a very selfish reason to do that yagya. And he was doing wrong things in there. And this young boy went to his father and said, "You're doing it wrong." And he got upset at him. And he said, "No, just go away, you don't know." He says, "No, no. But then you said you'll give away everything." He says, "Yes, I have given away everything." He says, "But you haven't given me." So he said, "Okay, I give you to the angel of death, Yamraj." And the boy accepted it, his father's command. And because he was a divine child. And he started walking towards the angel of death, Yamraj. And after a long and arduous journey, he knocked on the door. And the wife of Yamraj opened the door and he said, "I'm here to meet Yamraj." And she said, "He's not home. He'll be back in 3 days." And this young boy sat outside the house of Yamraj for 3 days and waited for him, fasting and like not eating anything. When Yamraj came and found out, he was very happy. And this young boy looked divine and he said, "I give you 3 wishes. Ask for anything." So the first wish is, let my father be happy. He's upset. And let his yagya, second be his yagya be successful and he gets what he wants. And the third is that since you are the angel of death, tell me the secret of death. And now Yamraj is caught unaware. They said, "Ask for anything else. You ask for 20,000 years of life, I'll give it to you. You ask all the wealth in the world, I'll give it to you. You want the most beautiful women in this world, I'll give it to you." And this young boy was very smart. He says, "If you give me 20,000 years of life, at the end, would you not come to take me?" He says, "I will." He says, "Or give me all the money. Will I be able to take it with me when I die?" He says, "No, you can't." He says, "So I don't want that. Just give me the secret of death." And he said, "If I give you the secret of death, my existence will finish." Which means that he says, like, because we think that we're going to die and everybody's afraid of me, that one day I'm going to come and take them. Because if you knew the secret of death, you would know that you're never going to die. And if once people stop fearing me, my existence will be over. So, but the boy insisted, "You tell me." And then he gave him the wisdom of like death and kind of, which is kind of explained in our, what we say in a sadhana, in a meditation, which is called the Nachiketa Dhyan. But long story short, that there is no real death. And then it is now you're listening to me, you may or may not believe it. But then the whole process of Brhamanda Yoga is not just listening to the wisdom. It's about experiencing everything we say. So in our sadhanas, we will experience that.
Sanjeevji, what is a soul group and why is it significant in our spiritual path?
A soul group is the group of people that we are all born with. And it not only just comprises of your family, of course, that is the most important part of your soul group, but also those people who come in our life and play a major role in our lives. So all put together is called the soul group. And it is not random. Like, if you look in this universe, there's nothing random in this universe, right? It's never that sun rises in the east for ever since the, beginning. It's not one day randomly it's going to rise in the west. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen that a mango is going to grow on a lemon tree. So everything, the seasons are defined, the timings are defined, everything is defined. So how can we be born with the people that we are born with, along with, can be random? Or the events that happen in our life can be random. So there is a reason why we are with this soul group.
So exactly why is this soul group significant on our spiritual path?
Basically, the reason why we are born and keep on taking birth again and again, because every time our life gives an opportunity to resolve the unresolved issues from the previous time. And the most significant attachments and unresolved issues that we have in our lives is it with this soul group. And that's why we keep coming together. And maybe it's a different form. Your mother may be your son next time, or could be. But the reason is to give you an opportunity to resolve any unresolved issues that you were not able to resolve in your previous time. So that's why we say that no matter what your family is like, do not judge them. They have all come to fulfill their soul agenda. You fulfill and focus on your soul agenda and do your part of resolving the unresolved issues that were left behind, that is kind of creating entanglement, in this life and birth process. So, and one is like being non-judgmental. Second is accepting your family and their close loved ones the way they are. And also forgiveness is a huge part. Well, because somebody may ask, oh, I am resolving my issue, say I have unresolved issues with my brother or sister or father or mother, but what about them? That is their soul agenda. That is their job. You fulfill your part and you resolve from your end. Forgive them, accept them, love them. And that is what we are supposed to do with our family, to love them unconditionally. And as long as we do not do this, we will keep on coming with the same soul group in a different shape or form and still trying to struggle with them in every life about trying to resolve unresolved issues. Say, for example, a person, they're two good friends, and they do a business together. And one of them cheats, and the other one is so kind of hurt that they die, and the person dies. And now he's dying in anger. So next life he'll most likely come to take a revenge with this person. And this cycle of one person taking the revenge and the next time other one taking the revenge will continue. And that's what keeps us in perpetuity of that unbreakable cycle of life and death and birth and death and birth and death. And our soul agenda is self-realization. And that can happen only and only if we start resolving these unresolved issues and all the entanglements that they have. The day you resolve your last entanglement, your last karmic thing, you are free.
Wow. And then when our soul group, somebody from our soul group, like let's say it's a parental figure, and we're trying to accept them, we're trying not to judge them, and they are having a very strong influence on our life, how do we, if they have a lot of power over us, then how do we navigate that without falling into this trap of judging them?
Through sadhana.
Through sadhana.
Because that is the only way.
Yeah.
It is by, like I said, First is getting the right wisdom, the knowledge, and to understand that this person is trying to influence my life, is doing for just because of this reason, because of my unresolved issues, because last time I influenced their life and now it's their turn to get it back to me. And once I understand that, then I take the power back in my own hands, because I cannot influence their actions or their trying to control over my life, but I can definitely choose to change my response and change my response to unconditional love, forgiveness, acceptance. Accept them the way they are and accept that they are also here to fulfill their soul agenda and they have the option to choose. And maybe one day your behavior may influence them, may motivate them to also take the same path and then also move on the path of forgiveness and acceptance and resolve their unresolved issues. And they get freedom as well.
Sanjeevji, when we visualize our goals, and visualization is a big part of what Brhamanda Yoga teaches, what I wanted to ask was, when we're visualizing these things, why is it so important for us to visualize them as if they've already happened and not something that is going to happen in the future?
That's a very good question too. And before I answer, let's understand past, present, and future first, right? Because if you said, I want this in the future, it'll create a doubt. Is it going to happen, not happen? Or what if this, what if that happened? What if there is an obstruction? What is this? And like I said, we have discussed this before in other previous podcasts, that can you step out of the now into the future?
No.
So, how can you have a goal about something that is not there and will never be there? If you want to think about the past, you have to bring the past into the now. And similarly for the future too, if you want to think about the future, you have to bring it into the present. And present means it's happening right now. And that is more realistic. Remember, it is a very, very important part of materialization of your goals, the visualization. But remember, although being very, very significant, it is not going to manifest your goals. But without it also, there will be no manifestation of your goals. Right. But this is a very important step towards materializing, manifesting your goals, that to visualize. And what will materialize your goals is the emotions. Say, for example, if your goals that you have defined are meaningful, they mean value, there is a strong why of your goals. The moment I bring that goals and visualize them, they have materialized in the present. Say you wanted, say even for the sake of material, like you were passionate about cars and you wanted this red Lamborghini. And now, with like what color interiors, and now if you close your eyes and you visualize sitting on the steering wheel and pushing the gas pedal and then, making that sound of a beast, would there not be joy? Like a surge of joy coming in.
For sure.
That emotion is what's going to materialize. So, visualize, but without visualizing, that's sitting in your car, experiencing the sound, the touch, the effect of every whole thing, and then the emotions rising, a combination of this will manifest your goals. But without visualization, if you think that you're sitting on an old bicycle and you think that is going to make the sound of Lamborghini and the feel of Lamborghini, God bless you. Yeah. So it's not going to happen. So that's how visualization is a significant step, although it'll alone not materialize anything, but without it also it will not materialize.
Sanjeevji, when we find ourselves confused, someone finds themselves confused when they're trying to make a very important decision in life, how can the practice of Brahmanda Yoga actually help us in this instance?
Well, I mean, let's understand first of all the root cause of confusion. Give me an example of confusion so we can maybe clarify it more.
Like maybe you're confused with what course you want to take in university if you're a student.
Yes? All right. I think I don't remember if we have touched this topic in our podcast or no, but then I'm just going to tell you briefly about this and maybe we can expand upon it in our next podcast and explain more. The first and foremost thing that we work upon in Brahmanda Yoga, when I'm working with somebody, is identifying your goals.
Yes.
And it's not easy. So I help people to kind of find out what they truly want. And once you have clearly defined your goals, and those goals can be in different parts of your life. It doesn't need to be one only. Then what kind of a health do you want? What kind of a physical health you want? What kind of a body you want? What kind of a peace you want? What kind of a family you want? What kind of a job do you want? How much wealth do you want? What kind of a house, a car do you want? Once you have clarity, you have defined your goals, you have written them, then where is the confusion? There's no confusion. Confusion arises only and only when I'm uncertain about my goals, because most people have not worked on their goals. They have never wanted to even tried to find out. And there was a study done, a while ago, but then a scientific one. And then they kind of tracked people in their lives. And they kind of divided the people into three groups. One group of people which were just not even averagely successful. The second group was like successful people. And the third was extremely successful. And when they found, they're looking at different parameters, different factors, but one factor which was absolutely clear, which influenced the kind of rate of success, was knowing what they want. The first group of people who were not very successful never knew what they wanted in their life. The second group of people who were successful knew what they wanted in their life. But the third group of people who were highly successful not only knew what they want, but they wrote it down. So that makes a big, big difference in our lives, that once I am clear on my goals, objectives, not just one, all different parts of my life. It takes work. That's why people shy away from it. I don't have the time. Like say, for example, when I start working with somebody, I said, do you know what you want in your life? And they give a very specific answer. I said, general answer. Yes, I want good health, good family, good job, good house and a car, and a good life. I said, God bless you. It'll always be a dream for you. Because good health, I have not defined for myself. What is good health for me could be bad for you. Exactly. So I have to define my own goals. Once I have a super clear list of goals, then where is the confusion? Yeah. There's no confusion. Yeah. My best wishes and blessings to all of you. And I'm pleased to announce that we have now confirmed the new dates for our workshop. In fact, instead of one, we are going to give you 2 dates. First date is Saturday, June the 28th at 10 a.m. And the second is Saturday, July the 5th at 10 a.m. So we'll be doing 2 workshops, and it'll be kind of a repeat with some differences. And for this amount that you have paid already, you can attend either one of them, or if you want, you can attend both of them. Also, the ones who have not registered kind of gives them an extra opportunity to register and take the benefit of these 2 workshops. And please go ahead and use the link in this video to register and get the full benefit of these 2 workshops. Thank you very much, and my blessings to you all.